Today we're going to take a close look at the Seer class and dive into why this class is an absolute beast to play. I'll cover the skills, going into detail which ones I would recommend going for first, and everything else you will need to know or should know about this class. Hey guys, welcome to Dakes Gaming. Hope you're all doing well. If you find this video helpful, hitting that like button helps me a ton. Subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and let me know if you have any questions or just want to let me know how you're getting on in the game in the comments. With all that being said, let's get into the Seer class. First, what you need to know is that you need to complete 10 games where you exit the Bifrost. This is pretty easy, as all you need to do is kill one Jotun and then exit the game via the Bifrost. This will, however, take you quite a while, but it will be worth it in the end. Now that you've unlocked the Seer class, the first thing that you'll notice is that if you land combos on enemies, you have a 10% chance to spawn a seedling, which heals you for 200 HP and in total for around 400 to 600 HP overall, depending if you stay in range or not of the seedling. When you're fighting enemies, this gives you a huge advantage, as you won't need as many healing potions and you won't die as often unless you're fighting buff enemies, such as enemies that are much higher than you in level, Jotnar or Fenrir. I always tend to go with the top tree first, focusing on the weakening effect, as this is really helpful when going against buffer enemies, as you'll deal more damage to them, but also they'll do less damage to you. This applies to your entire party, so if you're playing solo or in a small or big group, this is hugely helpful, and if you've got multiple Seers, this will stack and the damage numbers can get insane. So with these two base skills, which you can unlock within the first 10 minutes of playing, you can heal yourself and your allies and weaken enemies so they deal up to 10% less damage to you and your team, but also increase their damage by up to 10%. This alone is so good, but let's not just stop there. The next ones I go for are the increase in attack speed by 10% and 20%, delivering a 30% attack speed in total. This does actually make quite a big difference, because you'll be delivering those combos much faster, which in turn means you're more likely to activate the seedling, but also apply the weakness faster too. So all around, it's the best way to go. Next, I personally go for Thunder Embrace, as I absolutely love the blue and purple Thunder axes due to how they DPS. They are very easy to get when you first start your game, as all you will need to do is locate the dragon enemies, which drop a resource you will need for making it, but also the other ingredient you need is also in that location. Just a tip, but when you first start out and you've made your crafting equipment, go straight to the quest board and see if you've got a Land of Pools quest, as by picking this up will show you exactly where you need to go, and that information is invaluable time-wise. The first night you won't need to defend your village in solo, but if you're in a group and you've got people back at the base defending, go and locate the mushrooms during the night, as you will need these materials to make the blue and purple versions of the Thunder Axe. If you decide that Thunder isn't for you, then go for the Tempered node next for immunity to temperature effects. When you're exploring for the bridge, this can be very helpful, but also for gathering resources. I pick this up every single game I play, as I can't rate it highly enough, but it is definitely something I would pick up after maxing the top tree, because this is fundamentally more important. For me personally, I like to pick up the weapon durability nodes, because weapons break so quickly in this game, and it can get extremely frustrating when you're low on souls or just in the middle of exploring and fighting enemies and then your weapon breaks. I'm sure you all will have experienced this at some point or another, and it's not really ideal, is it? I found that I didn't have to repair my weapon nearly as often when using these nodes, so I'd class them as essential, especially when fighting Jotnar or Fenrir. The Seer has the ability to buff other elements too, via ice and dark, so if you decide that Thunder isn't the way that you want to go, you can go another route which suits your playstyle more. I just tend to find that Thunder is easier to obtain at the beginning of the game, so that is why it's my personal first choice. Finding items used to craft ice, fire or dark weapons is a real pain when starting out due to enemy levels in those areas that you need to gather the materials for. Let's move on to Bottom Tree. Bottom Tree really focuses on the support for your team, so you'll be able to resurrect players a lot faster. The time is reduced from 5 seconds to 1 second. I'm sure I don't need to explain why that is incredibly helpful, and it applies to all allies, whether that be villagers, or the people in your group, or even yourself. The node where enemies get stunned by the seedling can be incredibly useful when doing mob control, because it stuns them and then you can go to town on them or make a quick getaway. The choice is yours. It can also be quite helpful when playing strategically to overcome enemies in a hideout where they can quickly overrun you, and they normally pack quite a punch too. The safe revive perk is amazing, as when you get hit by enemies when resurrecting your teammates, stops your action and then you have to start again. It can make life far easier in the heat of battle when you've got tons of tiny enemies around or taking damage from any source in general. My pet hate are the little goblins that throw rocks. It does get very irritating after a while, especially when opening chests. It is important to note that you only get 10 points to spend, so whichever way you decide to make your build, there are options for you to be a huge asset to your team. Obviously, if you're going solo, then undoubtedly the top tree is 100% the way to go, as you won't be supporting a team, but everyone has their own playstyle, so make a build which works for you now that you have all the information as to why the Seer for me is the best class in the game. I hope that you've enjoyed the video. If you found it helpful, drop it a like and consider subscribing for more content to come in the future. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.